How does an actress walk away from 2 Oscar nominations, a Spielberg classic, and one of the most beloved Christmas movies of all time, without a single goodbye? Melinda Dillon did it, and Hollywood still isn't over it. A break from the norm. Melinda Dillon never followed convention. Born in Hope, Arkansas, on October 13, 1939, she spent her early years moving frequently due to her stepfather's military career. The constant uprooting made stability a foreign concept, but it also made her adaptable, a trait that would later define her acting career. Before Hollywood even knew her name, she was just another young woman trying to make a living in Chicago. She worked as a coat check girl at the legendary Second City Improv Theater, until one night when fate intervened. A performer was unable to go on, and Dillon, who had spent months watching from the sidelines, was suddenly on stage. Improv wasn't her calling, but the experience pushed her toward acting. That bold leap led her to Broadway. In 1962, she landed a role in Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, a brutal psychological drama that would become one of the most celebrated plays of the 20th century. She played Honey, the fragile, naive young woman caught in the crossfire of a dysfunctional marriage. At just 23, she was starring opposite acting heavyweights like Uta Hagen, Arthur Hill, and George Grizzard. The role earned her a Tony nomination for Best Featured Actress in a Play. For most young actors, this would be the moment they cemented their careers, but Dillon shocked everyone when she abruptly left the production. The pressures of 8 performances a week, the intense emotional demands of the role, and the toxic environment backstage left her drained. She later admitted she suffered a nervous breakdown from the experience. In an industry where walking away from a hit show could be career suicide, she did exactly that, breaking into Hollywood. After stepping away from Broadway, Melinda Dillon didn't rush into Hollywood. She wasn't chasing fame. She took her time, working in television and smaller film projects before landing her first major role. Her on-screen debut came in 1969 with The April Fools, a romantic comedy starring Jack Lemmon and Catherine Deneuve. It was a light-hearted film about an unhappy businessman caught in an unexpected romance, and Dillon played his bubbly, unfiltered wife. It wasn't a huge box office hit, but it gave her a taste of Hollywood filmmaking. Over the next few years, she took on a mix of supporting roles, often playing characters with warmth and quiet depth. She appeared in Slither, 1973, a crime comedy starring James Caan and Sally Kellerman, where she held her own among veteran actors. She had a role in the 1976 disaster comedy The Big Bus, a parody of big-budget disaster films that were dominating theaters at the time. While it didn't make waves, it showed her ability to bring sincerity to even the most absurd premises. Then came Bound for Glory, 1976, the film that truly put her on the map. Directed by Hal Ashby, it told the story of folk singer Woody Guthrie, played by David Carradine. Dillon played his first wife, Mary, in a performance that was both subtle and devastating. She portrayed a woman watching her husband chase a dream while their marriage crumbled under the weight of his ambitions. The role earned her an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. At this point, she was no longer just a working actress. She was someone the industry took seriously. An Oscar-worthy kind. In the mid-1970s, Steven Spielberg was preparing his follow-up to Jaws. His next film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, was an ambitious sci-fi epic about ordinary people experiencing unexplained alien phenomena. Casting the right actors was crucial. For the role of Gillian Guyler, a single mother whose young son is abducted by extraterrestrials, Spielberg needed someone who could bring raw emotion to the screen. He didn't want a conventional movie star. He wanted someone who felt real. Melinda Dillon was his choice. The film's most intense scene is the abduction itself. In one of the most haunting moments in sci-fi cinema, Gillian watches in helpless terror as an unseen force takes her son, Barry. The flashing lights, the house shaking, the wind howling. It's chaos. But Dillon's performance is what sells the horror. The rawness in her voice as she screams Barry's name, the sheer panic in her body language. It wasn't just great acting. It was gut-wrenching, and the scene was so effective that audiences believed every second of it. Spielberg later revealed that much of her reaction was genuine. He deliberately kept certain details hidden from Dillon to get a natural response. It worked. Her performance earned her a second Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Few actors get 2 Academy Award nominations in just a few years, but Dillon wasn't typical. The film was a massive success, grossing over $300 million worldwide. It solidified Spielberg as a master filmmaker and cemented Dillon as an actress capable of delivering powerhouse performances. But while the industry recognized her talent, she wasn't interested in chasing the next big role. She wasn't calculating her next move. She was just taking projects that felt right. A masterclass in absence of malice. By the early 1980s, Melinda Dillon had already carved out a reputation as one of Hollywood's most emotionally nuanced actresses. 2 Oscar nominations had solidified her place among the industry's most respected talents, yet she remained an enigma, someone who chose her roles carefully, never chasing the next big moment. And in 1981, she took on one of her most devastating performances yet. Sydney Pollack's Absence of Malice was a sharp, tightly wound drama exploring the ethical dilemmas of investigative journalism. Starring Paul Newman as a businessman wrongfully accused of a crime and Sally Field as an ambitious reporter caught in the middle, the film exposed the devastating consequences of reckless reporting. At its heart, it asked a critical question: what happens when the press gets it wrong? Dillon played Teresa Perrone, a hardworking woman whose life is upended when she is falsely implicated in a scandal through an irresponsible news report. Unlike Newman's character, who fights back against the system, Teresa has no resources, no legal team, no way to undo the damage. She's an ordinary woman caught in the crossfire of a headline that should have never been printed. The public scrutiny becomes unbearable, and in one of the film's most gut-wrenching moments, Teresa takes her own life. The power of Dillon's performance wasn't in grand speeches or dramatic outbursts. Instead, it was in the quiet unraveling of a woman pushed past her limit. The subtle shifts in her expression, the way her voice wavered but never fully broke, the defeated way she carried herself. These were the details that made the performance unforgettable. Her portrayal wasn't just tragic, it was painfully real. Despite the limited screen time, Dillon left an impact. Critics singled out her performance, with some arguing that she had once again delivered Oscar-worthy work. But there was no nomination this time, no industry recognition beyond glowing reviews. As always, Dillon didn't campaign for awards or push for visibility. She did the work, delivered a performance that lingered long after the credits rolled, and moved on. While Absence of Malice was another critical success for her, it also reinforced something else. Melinda Dillon wasn't interested in playing the Hollywood game. She had never been one for self-promotion, and this role proved she didn't need it. The work spoke for itself. A Christmas Story. By 1983, Melinda Dillon had already delivered Oscar-nominated performances and worked with some of Hollywood's top directors. But the role that would make her a household name wasn't in a highbrow drama or a major blockbuster. It was in a modest holiday film about a kid and his obsession with a BB gun. A Christmas Story was adapted from the writings of Gene Shepard, who narrated the film himself. It was a slice-of-life comedy set in the 1940s, centered on young Ralphie Parker and his desperate attempts to convince his parents, teachers, and even Santa Claus that a Red Ryder BB gun was the perfect Christmas gift. The film was nostalgic, charming, and full of absurd yet relatable family moments. Dillon played Mrs. Parker, Ralphie's loving but slightly overwhelmed mother. Unlike many movie moms of the era, she didn't fit into the Hollywood mold of a flawless, picture-perfect parent. She wasn't a caricature, nor was she just a background figure. She felt real, equal parts nurturing and exhausted, firm yet affectionate. Whether she was scolding Ralphie for fighting, arguing with his father about the infamous leg lamp, or laughing uncontrollably when her younger son refused to eat dinner, Dillon made every scene feel like a real moment in a real home. One of the most beloved scenes in the film wasn't even in the script. When she bundles up Randy, Ralphie's little brother, in so many layers of winter clothes that he can barely move, his struggle to put his arms down sends her into an unscripted fit of laughter. Director Bob Clark kept the take in because it was pure, natural joy, something that defined Dillon's entire performance. Despite its now iconic status, A Christmas Story didn't make a huge splash when it was released. It performed modestly at the box office, grossing about $19 million against a $3.3 million budget, but it wasn't seen as an instant holiday classic. It wasn't until the late 1980s and early 1990s, when networks began airing it annually, that audiences fully embraced it. By the time TNT launched its now traditional 24-hour A Christmas Story marathon in 1997, the film had become a Christmas staple. The underrated roles. After A Christmas Story, Melinda Dillon didn't bask in the newfound recognition. She did what she always did. She moved on to the next role that felt right. While she never sought the spotlight, Hollywood still recognized her talent, and she remained a steady presence in film throughout the late 80s and 90s. One of her more mainstream roles came in Harry and the Hendersons, 1987, where she played the mother of a family who accidentally brings home Bigfoot. The film was a family-friendly hit, but Dillon once again avoided turning her character into a typical sitcom mom. Instead, she brought warmth and a believable sense of bewilderment to a story that could have easily veered into absurdity. She worked steadily in both comedies and dramas, often playing supporting characters who left a lasting impact. She played Kevin Kline's sister in The Prince of Tides, 1991, adding emotional weight to the film's already heavy themes. She had roles in How to Make an American Quilt, 1995, and To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar, 1995, showcasing her ability to fit into any genre. But while Dillon was a familiar face, she was never a household name. She wasn't the kind of actress Hollywood built projects around, and that seemed to be exactly how she wanted it. By the late 1990s, her roles became fewer and farther between. It wasn't because she couldn't find work, she was just becoming more selective. And when Paul Thomas Anderson came calling, she knew she had one more performance left to give. The Magnolia Moment. By the late 1990s, Melinda Dillon was rarely seen in Hollywood. She had already spent decades delivering powerful performances in films that ranged from sci-fi blockbusters to Oscar-winning dramas. But she wasn't constantly in the public eye. She never played the Hollywood game of interviews, premieres, and self-promotion. She worked when a project felt right and disappeared when it didn't. Then came Magnolia, 1999. A sprawling emotional drama from director Paul Thomas Anderson. The film explored the interwoven lives of deeply flawed people, each grappling with regret, trauma, or unresolved pain. It was an ensemble film packed with powerhouse performances: Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Julianne Moore, and John C. Reilly, among others. But tucked within this emotionally volatile cast was Melinda Dillon, delivering one of the film's quietest yet most heartbreaking performances. She played Rose Gator, the long-estranged wife of Jimmy Gator, a game show host dying of cancer. Unlike the larger-than-life characters around her, Rose was subdued, a woman whose life had been shaped by quiet disappointment. She didn't yell, she didn't break down in dramatic fashion. She simply carried the weight of years of emotional distance with devastating authenticity. Unlike some of her earlier roles, which demanded intense, raw emotional displays, this one was all about restraint. Dillon knew how to make silence speak volumes. The pain in her eyes, the subtle hesitation in her voice, these small details made Rose one of the most emotionally affecting characters in the film. The movie was met with critical acclaim, earning 3 Oscar nominations and cementing Paul Thomas Anderson's reputation as one of Hollywood's most daring directors. Dillon's performance didn't go unnoticed. Critics praised her for the depth she brought to a character who could have been easily overlooked in a film filled with louder, more explosive moments. Yet, in classic Melinda Dillon fashion, she didn't capitalize on the attention. While her co-stars made the rounds at award shows and press events, she stayed out of the spotlight. No interviews, no promotional tours, Magnolia came and went, and so did she. It would be her last major role. After decades of brilliant, understated performances, Melinda Dillon quietly slipped away from Hollywood, leaving behind a body of work that needed no further explanation. Walking away without a word. Most actors don't retire quietly. They give interviews, hint at one last project, or make a grand farewell tour. Melinda Dillon did none of that. After decades of delivering some of Hollywood's most understated yet powerful performances, she simply stepped away. No announcement, no press release, just silence. Her last on-screen appearance was in Reign Over Me, 2007, a drama starring Adam Sandler and Don Cheadle. She played Ginger Templeman, a small but poignant role in a film about grief and healing. It wasn't a flashy send-off. It wasn't meant to be. After that, she vanished from the industry completely. No guest spots, no voice acting, no surprise cameos, just a clean break. Unlike many actors who slowly faded from the public eye, Dillon's departure was immediate and complete. She didn't transition into producing or directing. She didn't show up at award shows or participate in retrospectives about her past work. There were no social media accounts, no official statements about why she left, no updates on what came next. The woman who had brought so much depth to the screen was simply gone from it. Fans speculated about her decision. Had she grown disillusioned with the industry? Was she tired of playing the same roles? Or had she always intended to walk away once she felt satisfied with her work? There was no answer, and Dillon never felt the need to give one. While many actors stay in Hollywood out of necessity or nostalgia, she left on her own terms. It wasn't about a lack of roles. Directors still would have lined up to cast her. It wasn't about declining health. She was active at the time of her departure. It was a conscious decision, a rare act of control in an industry that rarely allows for it. In an era where celebrities document every moment of their lives, Melinda Dillon's quiet exit was almost unheard of. The mystery surrounding her disappearance only added to her legacy. She had spent a career avoiding the trappings of fame, and in the end, she avoided them once more. She had done her job, and she was done. No fame, no regrets. Hollywood runs on publicity. Actors are expected to stay in the public eye, constantly promoting their next project, attending award shows, and keeping their names relevant. Reinvention is key, whether through comebacks, brand deals, or a carefully orchestrated social media presence. Melinda Dillon never played by those rules. She wasn't interested in being a celebrity, and she never treated acting as a stepping stone to fame. Even at the height of her career, she kept a low profile, giving only the occasional interview, always keeping the focus on the work rather than herself. Even with 2 Oscar nominations under her belt, Dillon never campaigned for awards. She never attended endless Hollywood parties to network with the right people. There were no dramatic career reinventions, no sudden pivots to directing, and no late career attempts to grab headlines. Instead, she chose roles that felt right for her, not ones that kept her name in the conversation. While other actors worried about their box office draw, she took parts that spoke to her, even if they weren't commercially driven. That's why her filmography feels so intentional. Every role mattered, and every performance carried weight. The name she never claimed. Melinda Dillon wasn't the kind of actress who craved attention. She never chased fame, never cultivated an image, and never played the Hollywood game. For many, her name may not immediately ring a bell, but her performances? Unforgettable. Every December, millions of families watch A Christmas Story, laughing as Mrs. Parker battles a malfunctioning turkey, keeps her sons in line, and scoffs at her husband's beloved leg lamp. Her portrayal of an exhausted but loving mother feels timeless, capturing the everyday moments that make a family feel real. Sci-fi fans still hold Close Encounters of the Third Kind in high regard, and Dillon's performance remains one of the most emotionally gripping elements of the film. The terror and heartbreak she conveyed during the abduction scene are unforgettable, making it one of the most harrowing moments in science fiction history. Even after decades of advances in visual effects, it's her performance, not the special effects, that makes the scene work. For cinephiles, Magnolia remains a landmark film, and Dillon's role as Rose Gator is one of its most understated but emotionally devastating performances. Unlike her earlier films, there were no grand breakdowns or dramatic outbursts. Instead, she embodied quiet sorrow, the kind of pain that simmers under the surface, unspoken but deeply felt. Despite appearing in some of the most beloved and critically acclaimed films of her era, Dillon never sought to capitalize on her success. She never campaigned for awards, never pushed for bigger roles, and never fought for a seat at Hollywood's most exclusive tables. Unlike many of her peers, she didn't extend her career with nostalgia-driven cameos or reboots. She simply walked away, satisfied with the work she had done. On January 9, 2023, news quietly broke that Melinda Dillon had passed away at the age of 83. There were no major Hollywood tributes, no flood of headlines, no public farewell. Just a brief announcement, as understated as the woman herself. Her death was reported days after the fact, a reflection of the quiet life she had chosen. Even in her absence, she remains unforgettable. Not because she demanded recognition, but because she never needed to. Her performances left a lasting imprint, proving that the greatest actors aren't always the ones who seek the spotlight. They're the ones who leave something behind that people never forget. Oscar winner, Bond girl, Batman's Vicky Vale, and a PETA activist, Kim Basinger's career is as layered as it gets. But how did she navigate fame, financial ruin, and family struggles to leave her mark on Hollywood? Small-town beginnings. Camila Ann Basinger was born on December 8, 1953 in Athens, Georgia. Her family blended artistry and practicality. Her father, Don, was a jazz musician who became a loan manager, while her mother, Ann, was a former model and competitive swimmer. Ann's performances in the Water Ballet Championships hinted at the creativity Kim would later channel. Growing up with 4 siblings, Kim's life was a mix of structure and self-expression. Athens was charming but far from the bright lights of major cities. For a shy girl like Kim, the idea of stardom seemed worlds away. Yet, even as a child, she found ways to express herself. At 3, she started ballet lessons, discovering freedom in movement. Dancing became her first stage and helped her build the confidence to step into the spotlight. By her teenage years, her striking looks and natural grace began to draw attention. Encouraged by her mother, she entered local beauty pageants, winning titles like Junior Miss Athens. These wins gave her a taste of performing and opened the door to broader opportunities. Competing in the Junior Miss Georgia pageant offered her a glimpse of a life beyond her hometown. While many of her peers planned for college or steady careers, Kim's ambitions stretched further. At 17, she enrolled at the University of Georgia following the expected path, but her journey soon took an unexpected turn. A scout from Ford Modeling Agency spotted her, instantly recognizing her potential. The opportunity was exciting but intimidating, especially for someone so tied to the comforts of home. Kim hesitated, unsure if she was ready to leave Athens for the unpredictable world of modeling in New York City. Ultimately, curiosity and ambition outweighed her fears. She packed her bags, said goodbye to her quiet hometown, and set out to explore a future she could only imagine. From pageants to NY modeling. Kim entered a world buzzing with opportunity and pressure. Signing with Ford Models in the early 1970s wasn't just a career milestone. It was her ticket to the big leagues. Her striking features and undeniable charm quickly set her apart. Within months, she was landing magazine covers like 17 and scoring major ad campaigns. Her face became a staple in households across the country. Success brought glamour, but also heavy demands. The modeling world could be relentless, and Kim felt it. The constant focus on appearance, the perfection expected at every shoot. It was exhausting. In interviews years later, she admitted the anxiety she faced during this time. Every detail of her image was under the microscope, and the weight of those expectations wasn't easy to carry. One of her most memorable gigs was a national campaign for Breck shampoo. It was the kind of job models dreamt of: recognition, status, and financial security all rolled into one. But for Kim, it felt empty. Despite the campaign's success, she began to realize that modeling wasn't her ultimate calling. Looking for something deeper, she enrolled at the Neighborhood Playhouse in New York City. There, she trained under Sanford Meisner, one of the most respected acting coaches of the time. Acting opened a door that modeling never could. It gave her a platform to express emotions, tell stories, and explore creative depths that resonated on a personal level. By the mid-1970s, she was at a pivotal moment. On one side, she had a thriving modeling career with stability and fame. On the other, an uncertain but exciting path in acting beckoned her. For someone who had spent years in front of a camera, the idea of starting over was terrifying, but also exhilarating. Kim made her choice. She walked away from modeling and set her sights on Hollywood, ready to embrace whatever came next. Transitioning to acting. Leaving behind a thriving modeling career, she stepped into an industry that wasn't impressed by her past success. To gain traction, she started small, taking guest roles on popular TV shows like McMillan and Wife, 1976, and Charlie's Angels, 1976. These parts didn't make her a star overnight, but they taught her the basics of acting and gave her much-needed on-camera experience. Her natural charm made an impression, though early on she was often reduced to playing the beautiful newcomer. The real breakthrough came in 1977 when she landed the lead in Katie, Portrait of a Centerfold. The made-for-TV movie followed a small-town girl chasing fame in Los Angeles, only to face the harsh reality of being judged solely on her appearance. The role hit close to home for Kim, who had her own battles with being typecast. Her performance was layered, emotional, and sincere, proving she was more than just a pretty face. Audiences saw her as a serious actress for the first time, and critics began to pay attention. Still, Hollywood wasn't quick to shake its stereotypes. Kim was often pigeonholed as a blonde bombshell, a label that threatened to trap her in one-dimensional roles. Refusing to settle, she became more selective about her projects, choosing characters that challenged her. This strategy wasn't without its challenges. Opportunities didn't come easy, and she had to fight to prove she was more than her looks. In 1981, she took a step forward with the miniseries From Here to Eternity. The project, a remake of the classic 1953 film, gave her the chance to showcase her acting chops. Playing a complex role in a high-profile production earned her critical acclaim and signaled a shift in how the industry viewed her. By the early 1980s, Kim's persistence was paying off. Casting directors started to take her seriously, and bigger opportunities were finally within reach. Hollywood had begun to notice that Kim Basinger wasn't just another model trying her luck. She was a talent to watch. The Bond girl breakthrough. In 1983, Kim Basinger made a bold move, landing the role of Domino Patachi in Never Say Never Again. This wasn't just another movie. It was a James Bond film, starring none other than Sean Connery. Being part of such a legendary franchise came with pressure, especially for someone still proving herself in Hollywood. Bond girls were often typecast as glamorous accessories, but Kim had other plans. The film, a reimagining of Thunderball, wasn't part of the official Bond series, but still had big expectations. Connery was returning to his iconic role after more than a decade, and the stakes were high. Sharing the screen with him could have been intimidating, but Kim handled it with confidence. Her performance brought Domino to life with unexpected layers of vulnerability and strength. She didn't just look the part, she gave the character depth. Critics and audiences took notice. Kim's chemistry with Connery was undeniable, and her screen presence was magnetic. While many actresses might have leaned on glamour alone, Kim dug deeper. She studied the character's motivations, delivering a performance that elevated Domino from sidekick to something more substantial. Reviews praised her ability to balance the character's allure with genuine emotion. Suddenly, she wasn't just a model making her way in acting. She was a legitimate star. The production wasn't without its drama. Connery reportedly clashed with director Irvin Kershner, leading to tension on set. But Kim stayed focused, earning respect for her professionalism. Even in the face of on-set challenges, she kept her cool, proving she could handle the demands of a major film. Never Say Never Again performed well, raking in over $160 million at the box office. The role wasn't just a win for the film, it was a win for Kim. She'd broken through the Bond girl stereotype and established herself as a leading actress. This performance didn't just boost her profile, it set the stage for even bigger opportunities to come. Kim was officially on her way to the Hollywood A-list, stardom in the 1980s. The 1980s were Kim Basinger's decade. Her big break came with The Natural, 1984, where she played Memo Paris, a femme fatale opposite Robert Redford. The film wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural touchstone, earning multiple Oscar nominations. Kim's portrayal of Memo wasn't one-dimensional. She gave the character depth, showing Hollywood she was more than just a pretty face. Critics took notice, and suddenly, everyone knew her name. Her next move? Shocking audiences in 9.5 weeks, 1986. Paired with Mickey Rourke, Kim tackled one of the most provocative films of its time. The story of a toxic, obsessive relationship blurred the line between art and scandal. Some countries banned it outright. Yet, the controversy fueled its success, turning it into a cult classic. Kim's performance was raw, intense, and unflinching. She didn't just act, she embodied the role, showing a fearlessness that set her apart in an industry obsessed with playing it safe. Not one to get stuck in a single type of role, she switched gears in Blind Date, 1987, a romantic comedy alongside Bruce Willis. Kim showed she could do funny as effortlessly as she did dramatic or daring. Her chemistry with Willis kept audiences hooked, proving her versatility as a leading lady. Then came Batman, 1989. As Vicky Vale, Kim brought warmth and charm to Tim Burton's dark, brooding Gotham City. Starring opposite Michael Keaton, she played an intrepid journalist who held her own amidst the chaos of the Caped Crusaders' world. The film smashed box office records, grossing over $400 million globally. Kim's performance was essential to its success, adding heart to the gothic blockbuster. By the end of the decade, Kim wasn't just a star, she was a Hollywood powerhouse. Whether in gritty dramas, lighthearted comedies, or massive blockbusters, she made every role her own. Her 1980s career was a masterclass in reinvention, paving the way for an unpredictable and eventful 1990s. A rocky personal life. As Kim's career soared, her personal life became more complicated. In 1980, she married makeup artist Ron Snyder Britton after meeting on a photo shoot. At first, their marriage seemed stable, but Snyder Britton later revealed in his memoir Longer Than Forever that Kim's struggles with severe anxiety and perfectionism often strained their relationship. He described how her insecurities about her appearance and career created emotional distance between them. Their marriage lasted nearly a decade before ending in divorce in 1989. Not long after the split, Kim found herself back in the tabloids when she began dating Alec Baldwin in the early 1990s. The two met while filming The Marrying Man, 1991, and their chemistry wasn't just for the cameras. Their romance became headline news almost overnight. By 1993, they were married, and in 1995, they welcomed their daughter, Ireland. From the outside, they seemed like a Hollywood dream team, but their relationship was far from perfect. Behind the scenes, things were rocky. Baldwin's fiery temper often made news, and Kim reportedly struggled with the constant media attention. Paparazzi seemed to camp outside their lives, capturing tense moments that fed endless gossip stories. The pressure of their high-profile marriage and parenthood, combined with the demands of their careers, created cracks that were hard to ignore. Kim decided to take a step back from acting to focus on her family. It was a bold choice for a Hollywood A-lister, but it came at a cost. While she cherished the time with Ireland, the break only fueled the tabloids. Stories about her struggles with anxiety and her marriage filled magazine covers, often eclipsing her professional accomplishments. Financial and career setbacks. The early 1990s were a whirlwind for Kim Basinger, marked by ambitious choices and public fallout. Among her boldest moves was purchasing Brazelton, Georgia for $20 million. This tiny town of around 500 residents became her passion project. She envisioned it as a creative oasis, blending tourism and film production. The idea was groundbreaking but riddled with challenges. Legal red tape, funding gaps, and logistical nightmares caused the dream to unravel. Within a few years, the town was sold at a steep loss, leaving her finances in shambles. Critics were quick to pounce, calling it a reckless move that symbolized Hollywood excess. Then came the boxing Helena debacle in 1993. The film, directed by Jennifer Lynch, had a controversial plot involving a surgeon amputating a woman's limbs. Initially, Kim signed on as the lead but backed out after reconsidering the disturbing material. The producers weren't pleased. They took her to court, suing for breach of contract and demanding $8.1 million in damages. The judge ruled against her, and the payout left her financially strapped. Filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection became her only option. The fallout wasn't just financial, it was deeply personal. The press painted her as impulsive and irresponsible. Headlines turned her into a cautionary tale, and Hollywood insiders began to question if she was a safe bet for big projects. Film offers slowed to a trickle, and her star power seemed to dim. But Kim wasn't one to wallow. She pivoted to smaller projects, quietly rebuilding her reputation. Her choices reflected a mix of humility and determination. She knew she had to work her way back, proving she could still deliver as an actress. Comeback with LA Confidential. In 1997, Kim Basinger's career found its saving grace with LA Confidential. This neo-noir classic, directed by Curtis Hanson, brought Hollywood's dark and dirty past to the forefront. Based on James Ellroy's novel, the film delved into the corruption and scandals of 1950s Los Angeles. The ensemble cast, Russell Crowe, Guy Pearce, and Kevin Spacey, was stellar, but Kim's portrayal of Lynn Bracken stood out. Lynn wasn't your average femme fatale. Modeled after Veronica Lake, she was more than just a glamorous escort. Lynn had depth, empathetic, strong, and quietly commanding. Kim brought a subtle, magnetic quality to the role. Her performance wasn't loud or flashy, it was restrained, making every glance and line of dialogue hit harder. Critics called her portrayal a perfect mix of fragility and inner strength, elevating the film's emotional weight. The movie itself was a smash hit, earning 9 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture. Kim's performance earned her a Best Supporting Actress nomination, her first recognition from the Academy. For an actress once dismissed by critics as just another pretty face, this was a major moment. Then came Oscar night, March 23, 1998. When her name was called, Kim took the stage, holding back tears as she accepted the award for Best Supporting Actress. Her speech was short but heartfelt. She dedicated the win to every little girl out there dreaming of a moment like this. It wasn't just a win for her career. It was personal validation after years of setbacks and scrutiny. LA Confidential wasn't just a film for Kim. It was her comeback story. It proved that she wasn't done, and more importantly, that her talent couldn't be boxed in by Hollywood stereotypes. The role reignited her career, putting her back on the map as a serious actress. Diverse roles in the 2000s. Her post-Oscar career was anything but predictable. After the success of LA Confidential, she used her clout to explore a mix of mainstream hits, indie dramas, and a few less-than-stellar projects. Her choices revealed an actress eager to evolve, even if it meant stepping out of her comfort zone. In 2002, she reunited with director Curtis Hanson for 8 Mile, a semi-autobiographical film about Eminem's early struggles. Kim played Stephanie Smith, the struggling single mother of Jimmy B. Rabbit, Eminem. It was a far cry from her glamorous roles of the past. Stephanie was gritty, flawed, and burdened by life's harsh realities. Critics praised Kim for grounding the character with quiet authenticity, making her struggles feel raw and real. 8 Mile became a global phenomenon, earning over $240 million at the box office. It also snagged an Academy Award for Best Original Song with Eminem's "Lose Yourself." Kim's work in the film reminded audiences that she could thrive in any genre. During the 2000s, Kim gravitated towards smaller, character-driven projects. The Door in the Floor, 2004, paired her with Jeff Bridges in a heart-wrenching story about loss and the unraveling of a marriage. Her portrayal of a grieving mother was both subtle and devastating, earning widespread praise. In The Burning Plane, 2008, Kim delivered a deeply emotional performance as a woman grappling with guilt and betrayal. These films may not have been box office hits, but they underscored her ability to tackle heavy, complex roles with grace. Not every project landed well. I Dreamed of Africa, 2000, based on Kuki Gallman's memoir, struggled to connect with audiences and critics, despite Kim's dedication to the physically demanding shoot. Similarly, the supernatural thriller Bless the Child, 2000, was criticized for its predictable storyline. These setbacks didn't seem to faze Kim. She continued choosing projects based on her own artistic instincts, not Hollywood's expectations. Hits, misses, or hidden gems, Kim wasn't afraid to take risks. Her filmography from this era reflected a commitment to growth, proving she was far more than just a Hollywood starlet. Life beyond the spotlight. She has stepped away from Hollywood's chaos, choosing a quieter, more intentional life. After decades in the public eye, she shifted her focus to personal growth and causes she's passionate about. One of her biggest commitments is animal rights. Kim has worked with organizations like PETA, speaking out against cruelty in all its forms. She's been vocal about ending fur farming and factory farming, and even appeared in a campaign urging an end to the dog meat trade in South Korea. Her activism isn't just for show. Kim fosters rescue animals and supports legislation to protect them. She's all in, and it shows. Away from the camera, Kim's role as a mom has taken center stage. Her relationship with her daughter, Ireland Baldwin, hasn't always been smooth sailing. The media dissected their family struggles, including a tough custody battle with Alec Baldwin. But despite the drama, their bond is stronger than ever. Ireland often praises Kim for her resilience and calm presence, calling her both a rock and a best friend. Kim, in turn, has been Ireland's biggest supporter, helping her navigate life's twists and turns. Their social media snapshots together show a genuine closeness, proving family always comes first. Though Kim rarely steps into the spotlight now, she doesn't disappear entirely. When she does make an appearance, it's for a purpose. Whether she's at an animal rights rally or cheering on Ireland, she still commands attention with her trademark elegance and confidence. Hollywood may not be her main stage anymore, but she's found meaning in a slower, more purposeful pace. In the shimmering world of Hollywood, where the spotlight casts both glory and shadows, Burt Reynolds emerged as a figure larger than life. Known for his charismatic charm and rugged good looks, he was the quintessential American heartthrob. But beneath the veneer of the movie star, there lay hidden depths and untold stories. As the cameras rolled and Reynolds dazzled audiences with his performances, whispers circulated in the background. Rumors about his off-screen life began to surface, painting a picture far more complex than any character he portrayed on screen. Was Burt Reynolds merely the charming bandit, the lovable rogue that the public adored? Or was there more to his story, a tapestry of secrets woven behind the scenes of his celebrated career? In this journey, we delve into the life of Burt Reynolds, a man who captivated millions but also harbored mysteries. From his early days in Hollywood to his rise as a cultural icon, we uncover the layers of a man who was much more than the roles he played. Some revelations may surprise you, others might challenge what you thought you knew about the man behind the legend. From his tumultuous relationships to his personal struggles, we explore the facets of a life lived in the limelight and the shadows it cast. Prepare to embark on a journey through the life of Burt Reynolds, a story of fame, passion, and the secrets that linger behind the curtain of stardom. Humble beginnings. In the small town of Lansing, Michigan, on February 11, 1936, a star was born. Burt Reynolds, originally named Burton Leon Reynolds Jr., entered the world not with a silver spoon, but with a resilience that would define his life. His father, Burton Sr., was a proud man of law, serving as the chief of police, instilling in young Burt a sense of discipline and respect for authority. The Reynolds family moved to Riviera Beach, Florida, where Burt's athletic prowess began to shine. At Palm Beach High School, he excelled in football, his talent and dedication paving the way for a promising future. His dreams of glory on the football field were so vivid and within reach, with Burt earning a scholarship to Florida State University, a testament to his skill and hard work. But fate had a different plan. In 1955, during his sophomore year, a car accident changed everything. Burt's knee was severely injured, and the injuries didn't stop there. While recovering, he endured another blow, a spleen injury during a game. These back-to-back misfortunes dashed his football dreams, steering his life in an unforeseen direction. It was during this tumultuous time that Burt's path veered towards acting. Encouraged by an English professor who saw a spark in him, Burt auditioned for a play. To his surprise, he won the lead role, not just because of his talent, but also because of his undeniable charisma. This experience lit a fire in him, a passion for performing that he never knew he had. Burt's journey in acting started modestly. He attended Palm Beach Junior College, participating in theater productions. His first notable performance was in the play Outward Bound, where he won the 1956 Florida State Drama Award. This accolade earned him a scholarship to the Hyde Park Playhouse, a summer stock theater in New York. In New York, Burt's rugged good looks and natural acting ability caught the attention of talent scouts. He was offered a chance to audition for a role in a new play called Tea and Sympathy at the neighborhood playhouse. Though he didn't land the role, this experience opened doors for him, leading to television and movie roles. Burt's early career was a mix of small TV roles and stage appearances. He appeared in shows like Pony Express and Riverboat, but it was his performance in Gunsmoke as Quint Asper that gave him his first taste of recognition. His portrayal of the half-Native American blacksmith in the popular Western series marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that would eventually lead him to the pinnacle of Hollywood stardom. In these early years, Burt Reynolds was not just building a career, he was building a legend, one step at a time, from the football fields of Florida to the bright lights of Hollywood. The breakthrough. As the 1960s dawned, Burt Reynolds' career began to gain momentum. His rugged charm and undeniable talent caught the eye of Hollywood, leading to more significant roles and opportunities. It was a time of transformation for Reynolds as he transitioned from a promising television actor to a rising star in the film industry. In 1966, Reynolds made a bold move that would mark a turning point in his career. He accepted a role in the film Navajo Joy, directed by Sergio Corbucci. This spaghetti western, shot in Spain, was a departure from his previous roles. Reynolds played the titular character, a Navajo warrior seeking revenge. The film was not a critical success, but it showcased Reynolds' ability to carry a movie as the lead, setting the stage for bigger things to come. The late 1960s and early 1970s saw Reynolds experimenting with various genres, from action to comedy. He appeared in films like 100 Rifles, 1969, and Sam Whiskey, 1969, which further solidified his position as a versatile actor. However, it was his foray into television that would bring him unprecedented fame. In 1970, Reynolds took on the role of Lewis Medlock in the film Deliverance, directed by John Boorman. The film, based on the novel by James Dickey, was a harrowing tale of survival and morality. Reynolds' portrayal of the alpha male outdoorsman was critically acclaimed, earning him praise for his physical and emotional depth. Deliverance was a commercial and critical success, and it catapulted Reynolds into the upper echelons of Hollywood. Following the success of Deliverance, Reynolds' career hit a new stride. He became a regular guest on talk shows, charming audiences with his wit and charisma. His appearance on The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson was particularly memorable. showcasing his ability to connect with the audience and his flair for storytelling. In 1972, Reynolds posed nude for Cosmopolitan magazine, a move that was both controversial and groundbreaking. The centerfold, showing a naked Reynolds on a bearskin rug, became an iconic image of the 1970s. It was a testament to his confidence and sex appeal, and it helped cement his status as a sex symbol. Hollywood's leading man. As the 1980s dawned, Burt Reynolds had firmly established himself as one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. His magnetic screen presence and versatility as an actor made him a favorite among audiences and filmmakers alike. This period marked the zenith of Reynolds' career, where he not only enjoyed immense popularity, but also began to exert significant influence in the industry. Reynolds' charm and box office appeal were evident in a string of successful films. Cannonball Run, 1981, and its sequel, Cannonball Run 2, 1984, were commercial hits, showcasing Reynolds' flair for comedy and action. These films, packed with car chases and an ensemble cast, were reflective of Reynolds' ability to lead and carry big-budget productions. However, it wasn't just the action comedy genre that Reynolds excelled in. He showed his range as an actor in films like Sharky's Machine, 1981, which he also directed. This crime thriller, where Reynolds played a tough, no-nonsense detective, was a departure from his usual roles and demonstrated his skills behind the camera as well. Reynolds' influence extended beyond his on-screen roles. He became a mentor to many young actors and was known for his generosity and support to his co-stars and crew members. His charisma was not limited to the screen. It was an integral part of his personality, endearing him to those he worked with. Despite his success, Reynolds did not shy away from taking risks. He turned down several roles that would later become iconic, including Han Solo in Star Wars and John McClane in Die Hard. These decisions, while controversial, were reflective of Reynolds' desire to chart his own path in Hollywood rather than conform to expectations. The 1980s also saw Reynolds venturing into television with the sitcom Evening Shade, 1990-1994. His role as Wood Newton, a former professional football player turned high school coach, earned him critical acclaim and a Golden Globe Award. This return to television demonstrated Reynolds' ability to adapt and remain relevant in an ever-changing entertainment landscape. Off-screen, Reynolds' life was as eventful as his career. His high-profile relationships, particularly with actress Sally Field, were the subject of much media attention. Reynolds often described Field as the love of his life, and their on-screen chemistry in films like Smokey and The Bandit was palpable. By the end of the 1980s, Burt Reynolds had become more than just an actor. He was a cultural phenomenon. His journey from a young football player to Hollywood's leading man was marked by ups and downs. But through it all, Reynolds remained a beloved figure, known for his charisma, talent, and indomitable spirit. Love, life, and scandal. Burt Reynolds' personal life, much like his career, was a tapestry rich with stories of love, heartbreak, and controversy. His charismatic personality and status as a Hollywood heartthrob led to several high-profile romances and marriages, each adding a layer to the complex persona of Reynolds. In the late 1970s, Reynolds met actress Sally Field on the set of Smokey and the Bandit. Their on-screen chemistry quickly translated into a real-life romance. Field and Reynolds became one of Hollywood's most talked-about couples, their relationship capturing the hearts of fans worldwide. Despite the intensity of their connection, the relationship ended after a few years. Reynolds later expressed regret about how the relationship concluded, often referring to Field as the one who got away. Reynolds' romantic life was not without its controversies. In 1988, he married actress Loni Anderson, a union that was as glamorous as it was tumultuous. The couple adopted a son, Quinton, which brought joy to Reynolds' life, but their marriage was often under the scrutiny of the public eye. The couple's divorce in 1993 was highly publicized, marked by bitter legal battles and scandalous accusations, painting a stark contrast to Reynolds' otherwise charming public persona. The divorce from Anderson took a toll on Reynolds, both emotionally and financially. He faced a series of financial setbacks, including bankruptcy in the mid-1990s. These struggles were a far cry from the peak of his career, showcasing the volatility that often comes with life in the limelight. Despite these challenges, Reynolds continued to find solace in his work and his passion for acting. He often spoke candidly about his personal life, his mistakes, and his learnings, showing a vulnerability that endeared him even more to his fans. Reynolds' life was also marked by his friendships and connections within the industry. He was known for his loyalty and generosity, traits that made him beloved among his peers. His long-standing friendship with fellow actor Dom DeLuise was particularly notable, with the duo sharing both a deep personal bond and on-screen chemistry. Throughout the ups and downs of his personal life, Reynolds maintained a sense of humor and a level of self-awareness that was rare. He never shied away from discussing his past, including his relationships, financial woes, and the choices he made. This openness added a layer of authenticity to his public image, making him not just a star but a relatable figure with a story that resonated with many. Trials and tribulations. The 1990s and early 2000s were a period of profound change and challenge for Burt Reynolds. Despite his earlier success, he faced a series of trials that tested his resilience, both personally and professionally. These years were marked by financial struggles, health issues, and a waning career, painting a stark contrast to the heights he had once achieved. Financially, Reynolds found himself in dire straits. His divorce from Lonnie Anderson had been costly, and poor investments coupled with an extravagant lifestyle led to significant monetary losses. In 1996, he filed for bankruptcy, a move that was widely publicized and added to the narrative of a fallen star. The bankruptcy forced Reynolds to sell off assets, including his beloved Florida ranch and a vast collection of memorabilia from his films. Health issues also plagued Reynolds during this time. He underwent back surgery and a quintuple heart bypass, procedures that took a toll on his physical appearance and ability to work. The once ruggedly handsome actor appeared frail in public appearances, sparking concern among his fans. Reynolds was open about his health struggles, discussing them in interviews and acknowledging their impact on his life. Professionally, Reynolds' career faced a downturn. While he continued to act, the roles he was offered were far from the leading man parts he had once played. He appeared in a string of low-budget films and television shows, many of which failed to make a significant impact. This decline was a far cry from the days when Reynolds was one of the most bankable stars in Hollywood. Despite these challenges, Reynolds' spirit remained unbroken. He continued to pursue acting, his passion for the craft undiminished by the trials he faced. In a testament to his enduring talent, Reynolds made a remarkable comeback with the film Boogie Nights, 1997. His portrayal of adult film director Jack Horner earned him critical acclaim, including an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. This role was a reminder of Reynolds' acting prowess and his ability to reinvent himself. Reinvention and resilience. Entering the new millennium, Burt Reynolds demonstrated an admirable capacity for reinvention and resilience. The challenges of the previous decade had not diminished his spirit. Instead, they had forged a path for a remarkable resurgence. This period of Reynolds' life was characterized by a renewed vigor in his career and a reflective perspective on his journey. The success of Boogie Nights marked a turning point for Reynolds. It rekindled interest in his talent and opened doors to new opportunities. He began to receive offers for more substantial roles, allowing him to showcase the depth and range of his acting abilities. This late career renaissance was a testament to his enduring appeal and versatility as an actor. Reynolds embraced television once again, appearing in various shows where he delivered performances that were both nuanced and compelling. His role in the sitcom My Name is Earl earned him an Emmy nomination, reaffirming his status as a skilled actor. These television appearances were not just professional choices, they were indicative of Reynolds' adaptability and his willingness to evolve with the changing landscape of entertainment. In addition to his acting work, Reynolds focused on other passions. He devoted time to teaching acting, sharing his wealth of experience with aspiring actors. His acting classes in Florida were not just about the craft, but also about the realities of the industry. Reynolds found joy and fulfillment in mentoring the next generation, leaving a legacy that went beyond his filmography. Despite the resurgence in his career, Reynolds maintained a reflective outlook on his life. He penned a memoir, But Enough About Me, where he candidly discussed his triumphs and failures, his relationships, and his journey in Hollywood. The book was more than just an autobiography. It was an introspective look at a life lived in the spotlight, with all its attendant glories and hardships. The man behind the legend. As the twilight years of his career approached, Burt Reynolds continued to work, but he also took time to reflect on his life and legacy. This period was marked by a deeper introspection and a desire to share the wisdom gained from a lifetime in the spotlight. Reynolds, the man behind the legend, began to reveal more of himself, his thoughts, and his experiences, offering a unique window into his world. Reynolds's later years were characterized by a mix of nostalgia and realism. He made appearances in films and television shows that often paid homage to his earlier work, bringing a sense of closure to his long and varied career. His role in the movie The Last Movie Star 2017 was particularly poignant. In it, Reynolds played an aging actor grappling with the realities of his fading career, a role that mirrored his own journey in many ways. Off-screen, Reynolds continued to be a beloved figure. He attended fan conventions and film festivals where he was greeted with warmth and admiration. These events were not just opportunities for fans to meet the star. They were moments for Reynolds to connect with those who had supported him throughout his career. He shared stories, laughed, and sometimes reflected somberly on his life's journey. Reynolds also continued his work as a mentor and teacher. He found joy in guiding young actors, often imparting lessons that went beyond acting. He spoke about the importance of resilience, the pitfalls of fame, and the need to stay true to oneself. For Reynolds, these lessons were hard-earned, and he was generous in sharing them. In his personal reflections, Reynolds often expressed regret about certain aspects of his life, particularly his relationships and some career choices. Yet there was also a sense of acceptance and peace with the path he had taken. He had come to terms with his past, embracing both the triumphs and the mistakes. Burt Reynolds passed away on September 6, 2018, leaving behind a legacy that spanned decades. His death was met with an outpouring of tributes from fans, friends, and colleagues. They remembered him not just as a great actor, but as a charismatic and kind-hearted individual who had touched the lives of many. The story of Burt Reynolds is one of talent, charisma, and complexity. It's a story of a man who lived in the fast lane, faced his share of challenges, and emerged with a sense of grace and wisdom. In the end, Reynolds was not just a Hollywood icon. He was a man who had lived a full and vibrant life, leaving an indelible mark on the world of entertainment and on the hearts of those who knew him. In the ever-shifting landscape of television, characters come and go, leaving fans clinging to memories of beloved figures who once graced their screens. But what happens when the face of your favorite character changes overnight? Imagine tuning in to your weekly dose of escapism, only to find that the hero you've rooted for, the villain you love to hate, has been replaced by a stranger wearing a familiar guise. This isn't just a recast, it's a seismic shift in the narrative world we thought we knew. In the intricate dance of storytelling, actors are the faces of tales that capture our hearts. But sometimes those faces change, and the reasons why can be as compelling as the plot twists we see on screen. Join us as we draw the curtain to reveal the actors who were replaced mid-series and the intriguing stories behind their departures. The landscape of television has been shaped by countless narratives, each woven with characters that capture the hearts and minds of audiences. Yet the departure of an actor from a beloved series is a narrative twist that no viewer can prepare for. These exits are not merely casting changes, they are pivotal moments that can redefine a show's direction and legacy. Throughout television history, there have been numerous high-profile actor replacements that have stirred the pot of public opinion and industry debate. From the early days of television to the streaming era, unforeseen departures have been a constant. In the 1970s, the sudden exit of McLean Stevenson from the classic series MASH due to a desire for a change in his career path left fans stunned and the show's writers scrambling for a fitting farewell. The character's unexpected death in the series was a television moment etched in the memories of viewers, a poignant reminder of the unpredictability of life both on and off the screen. Fast forward to the 1980s and we witness the controversial departure of David Caruso from NYPD Blue after just one season. His decision to pursue a film career was met with mixed reactions, and the show had to quickly pivot to introduce a new lead, which it successfully did with the arrival of Jimmy Smits. The 1990s brought its own drama with the exit of Shannon Doherty from Beverly Hills 90210 and later Charmed, both times amidst rumors of on-set disputes and creative differences. These departures not only changed the dynamics of the respective shows, but also sparked conversations about the impact of off-screen behavior on an actor's television career. In more recent times, the abrupt departure of Patrick Dempsey from Grey's Anatomy shocked audiences. His character's tragic end was a creative decision that left fans grieving and marked the end of an era for the long-running medical drama. Each of these departures, whether driven by personal choice, creative differences, or external circumstances, underscores the fragile nature of television production. Actors may be the faces of the characters, but their exits reveal the myriad forces at play behind the scenes. Showrunners must navigate these choppy waters, balancing the integrity of the narrative with the realities of the industry. In this video, we will explore the stories behind some of the most talked about exits in television history. We will look at how these departures were handled, the reactions they elicited, and the lasting impact they had on the shows and the television landscape at large. Join us on this journey through the annals of TV history, where the only constant is change, and the departure of a beloved actor is but a single plot twist in the ongoing saga of television storytelling. The unforeseen departures. In the vast industry of television, the unexpected exit of a key actor is akin to a sudden change in the pattern, a shift that can alter the fabric of the story in unforeseen ways. These departures, often shrouded in mystery or the result of abrupt decisions, have led to some of the most memorable and defining moments in TV history. One of the earliest and most iconic examples is the departure of Diane Chambers, played by Shelley Long, from the classic sitcom Cheers. Long left the show at the height of its popularity to pursue a film career, a move that left fans and critics alike wondering if the show could survive without one half of its central will they won't they couple. The introduction of Kirstie Alley as Rebecca Howe marked a new chapter for the show, which continued to thrive, proving that a series could reinvent itself post-departure. In the realm of science fiction, the sudden departure of Denise Crosby from Star Trek: The Next Generation during its first season surprised viewers. Her character, Tasha Yar, was killed off in a shocking twist that was as much a narrative decision as it was a response to Crosby's desire for a more expansive career. The show would go on to address her absence in future storylines, weaving her departure into the lore of the Star Trek universe. The 2000s saw the unexpected exit of Christopher Maloney as Detective Elliot Stabler from Law and Order Special Victims Unit. After 12 seasons, contract negotiations fell through, and Maloney's sudden departure left a gap that the show took time to fill. His absence was felt both by the characters and the audience, as the show had to recalibrate its dynamic without one of its original leads. More recently, the departure of Ruby Rose from Batwoman after just one season left fans and industry insiders puzzled. Citing personal reasons, Rose's exit required a swift recasting and a narrative shift that introduced a new character to don the Batwoman mantle, a bold move for a series still in its infancy. These departures, whether due to personal decisions, behind-the-scenes tensions, or the unpredictable nature of the industry, have one thing in common. They force a show to evolve. Writers must craft new storylines, producers must reassess the show's direction, and the remaining cast must adjust to a new on-screen chemistry. The departure of a key actor is not just a loss, but an opportunity for reinvention. Creative differences and disputes. The phrase creative differences is often cited as the diplomatic euphemism masking the turbulent undercurrents that lead to an actor's departure from a television series. These differences can stem from a variety of sources: disagreements with the direction of a character, conflicts with writers or producers, or a broader divergence in the vision for the show. A classic case is the departure of Suzanne Summers from Three's Company. Portraying the bubbly Chrissy Snow, Summers became a breakout star. However, in 1980, during contract renegotiations, Summers requested a pay raise commensurate with her perceived value, which led to a standoff with the producers. The dispute resulted in her receiving less screen time before her character was written off the show entirely. This incident not only impacted the dynamic of the series, but also became a cautionary tale about the balance of power in Hollywood. In a more recent example, the exit of Kevin Spacey from House of Cards was precipitated by allegations of misconduct, but it also brought to light underlying tensions regarding Spacey's influence on the show's direction. His departure necessitated a drastic reworking of the final season, with Robin Wright's character Claire Underwood taking center stage. The shift was abrupt, but it allowed the series to conclude on its own terms, albeit under a shadow of controversy. Another memorable departure was that of Dan Harmon, the creator of Community. His exit after the third season was not as an actor but as a showrunner, which is equally impactful. The clash between Harmon's creative vision and the network's desire for broader appeal led to his firing. The subsequent season, produced without him, was met with mixed reactions, demonstrating how vital a singular creative vision can be to a show's identity. Creative disputes are not always so acrimonious. For instance, the departure of Steve Carell from The Office was a mutual decision that respected Carell's desire to pursue other projects while also honoring the character's natural progression. The show continued for several seasons, exploring new dynamics and character developments in Carell's absence. These instances highlight the delicate ecosystem of a television series, where the departure of a single individual can have a ripple effect. The creative process is inherently collaborative, and when disputes arise, they can either be a source of innovation or a harbinger of decline. Next, we'll examine how contractual and scheduling conflicts have also played pivotal roles in shaping the trajectories of beloved series. But before that, if you enjoy the video, please subscribe to our channel. Helps us stay motivated and will keep you up to date with new releases. Contractual and scheduling conflicts. The world of television is bound by contracts as much as it is by creativity. When actors sign on to a series, they are often committing to multiple years of their career. However, as their star rises or personal circumstances change, these contracts can become a double-edged sword, leading to scheduling conflicts and sometimes contentious exits. A prime example of this is the departure of Rob Lowe from The West Wing. Lowe, who played Sam Seaborn, was considered by many to be the lead when the show began. However, as the ensemble cast received more focus, Lowe's screen time diminished. Coupled with disputes over salary and the desire for a more prominent role, Lowe chose to exit the series, leaving fans to wonder what might have been had he stayed. On the flip side, there's the case of George Clooney in ER. Clooney had a leaving clause in his contract that allowed him to exit if his film career took off, which it did. His departure was amicable and well handled within the narrative of the show, setting a precedent for how to manage the loss of a major star gracefully. Scheduling conflicts can also arise when an actor is involved in multiple projects. For instance, scheduling issues were part of the reason why David Duchovny reduced his role in The X-Files after the 7th season. His desire to pursue a film career and focus on other projects led to a reduced presence on the show, which had a significant impact on the series' direction and fan reception. The case of Katherine Heigl's exit from Grey's Anatomy is another illustration of how contractual obligations can clash with personal aspirations. Heigl's burgeoning film career and public dissatisfaction with her character's storyline led to a mutual decision for her to leave the show. However, the negotiations were far from smooth, with public statements from both Heigl and show creator Shonda Rhimes reflecting the tension behind the scenes. These departures underscore the complex interplay between an actor's contractual obligations and their career trajectory. While contracts are designed to protect both the actor and the production, they can also become a source of conflict, particularly when the interests of the actor and the show begin to diverge. Controversial exits. As you'd expect, not all exits are planned, and some are mired in controversy that can leave a lasting impact on the show's legacy. These departures often become as talked about as the series itself, overshadowing plot lines and sometimes even leading to a show's decline. One of the most contentious exits in TV history was that of Shannon Doherty from Beverly Hills 90210. Doherty, who played Brenda Walsh, was a central figure in the teen drama. Rumors of on-set feuds and bad behavior clouded her departure at the end of the 4th season. The controversy didn't end with 90210. Doherty's exit from Charmed after 3 seasons was similarly fraught, with speculation about conflicts with co-stars and producers. Another departure that sent shockwaves through the industry was Charlie Sheen's firing from 2.5 Men. Sheen's public meltdown and feud with series creator Chuck Lorre were tabloid fodder for months. His character's abrupt and irreverent write-off from the show was a clear message that no actor is bigger than the show itself. In more recent years, Kevin Spacey's exit from House of Cards following allegations of sexual misconduct was both controversial and unprecedented. The show had to rework its final season to write out Spacey's character, Frank Underwood, a move that significantly altered the show's trajectory and received mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. The departure of Roseanne Barr from her eponymous show, Roseanne, due to a racially charged tweet led to the show's cancellation and subsequent rebranding as The Connors. This situation highlighted how an actor's off-screen behavior could have immediate and drastic consequences for their on-screen roles. The role outgrows the actor. Sometimes the narrative arc of a series demands that a character evolve in ways that the original actor can no longer portray, leading to a recasting that can be jarring for audiences but necessary for the story. This phenomenon is not new, but it is always a point of interest and sometimes contention among fans. A classic example is the role of Daario Naharis in the epic series Game of Thrones. Initially played by Ed Skrein in the 3rd season, the role was taken over by Mikael Huisman in the 4th season. The official reason given was a conflict of schedules, but rumors of creative differences quietly circulated. The change was abrupt, and the character's new portrayal was noticeably different, leading to much fan speculation. In The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the character of Aunt Vivian was famously played by Janet Hubert for the first 3 seasons before being replaced by Daphne Maxwell Reid. The change was attributed to behind-the-scenes difficulties, but it also reflected a shift in the character's demeanor and role within the show, which some argue could have necessitated a different approach to the character. Another notable recasting was the transition from Sarah Chalke to Lisi Göransson and back again for the role of Becky in Roseanne. Göransson left the show to attend college and Chalke took over. Göransson would later return, leading to a unique situation where both actors alternated in the role, depending on their availability. In the Avengers TV series from the 1960s, the role of Kathy Gale was originally played by Honor Blackman. When Blackman left to play Pussy Galore in Goldfinger, the role was not recast. Instead, a new character, Emma Peel, played by Diana Rigg, was introduced. This allowed the show to refresh its dynamic and keep pace with its evolving narrative needs. These changes underscore the delicate balance between an actor's portrayal and the character's trajectory within a story. When the role outgrows the actor, either due to narrative demands or external factors, the show must navigate the transition carefully to maintain continuity and audience engagement. Tragic circumstances. The impact of a sudden loss of an actor due to tragic circumstances presents a profound challenge for a television series. These events are deeply felt, not just within the fabric of the show, but also among the cast, crew, and viewers who have formed attachments to the characters and the actors behind them. One of the most heart-rending examples is the death of John Ritter, who passed away unexpectedly in 2003 from an aortic dissection. Ritter was at the height of his role in the sitcom 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. The show chose to address his death directly, writing it into the series, which allowed the characters and the audience to grieve together. In the case of Glee, the untimely death of Corey Monteith, who played Finn Hudson, left the cast and fans in shock. The show paid tribute to Monteith in an episode that dealt with the loss of his character, reflecting the real-life grief of the actors and viewers. The episode was a poignant farewell to both the actor and his beloved character. The sudden passing of Phil Hartman, known for his role as Bill McNeil on News Radio, was another tragic event that the show had to address. Hartman was a victim of murder-suicide by his wife. The following season began with an episode that dealt with his character's death, allowing the show to honor Hartman's contribution and provide closure to fans. Saturday Night Live veteran and film star Chris Farley's death in 1997 was a loss felt across the comedy community. While not part of a series at the time of his passing, his absence was noted in the comedy world, with tributes pouring in from all corners, including from his SNL family. These tragic departures serve as stark reminders of the fragility of life and the unforeseen impact such losses can have on a television series. They require a sensitive and thoughtful approach to storytelling, as the line between reality and fiction becomes blurred by real-world sorrow. Fan reactions and ratings. Impact. The departure of a beloved actor from a television series can send ripples through its fan base, often resulting in a vocal and emotional response. Fans invest time and emotion into the characters and storylines, and when an actor exits, it can feel like losing a friend or family member. This chapter delves into the dynamics of fan reactions and the subsequent impact on show ratings. When Shannon Doherty left Charmed, her departure sparked a significant reaction among the show's dedicated fan base. Doherty's character, Prue Halliwell, was a central figure, and her sudden exit at the end of the 3rd season left fans reeling. The introduction of Rose McGowan as a long-lost sister helped to fill the void, but the show's dynamic had irrevocably changed, leading to mixed reactions and a shift in viewership. Similarly, The X-Files faced a fan uproar when David Duchovny, who played Fox Mulder, reduced his role after the 7th season. The chemistry between Mulder and Scully, portrayed by Gillian Anderson, was a cornerstone of the series, and Duchovny's reduced presence was felt both in the narrative and the show's ratings. In contrast, 2.5 Men experienced a different kind of shakeup with the departure of Charlie Sheen and the introduction of Ashton Kutcher. Sheen's tumultuous exit was highly publicized, and his character's absence was explained through his off-screen death. The show continued with Kutcher stepping in, leading to a different comedic dynamic that was initially met with curiosity by viewers, resulting in a ratings boost, though the long-term impact showed a gradual decline. The effect of actor replacements on ratings is not always negative. NYPD Blue saw the departure of David Caruso after its first season, but the show managed to maintain and even grow its audience with the introduction of Jimmy Smits. The seamless transition was a testament to the show's strong ensemble cast and writing. Fan reactions can also lead to campaigns aimed at bringing actors back or saving a show from cancellation. The power of fan movements was evident with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which was picked up by another network after cancellation due to overwhelming fan support. Behind-the-scenes insights. The departure of an actor from a television series is often shrouded in mystery, with fans left to speculate about the reasons behind the decision. However, behind-the-scenes insights can provide clarity and context to these departures, revealing the complexities of television production and the intricacies of actor contracts. One of the most famous behind-the-scenes stories involves the departure of Suzanne Somers from Three's Company. After becoming a breakout star, Somers sought a significant salary increase, leading to contract disputes. Negotiations turned sour, and Somers was eventually phased out of the show, appearing only briefly in some episodes before her character was written off. The tension on set during this period was palpable, and the show's dynamic changed with the introduction of a new character, Terry Alden, played by Priscilla Barnes. Another notable example is the replacement of Janet Hubert, the original Aunt Vivian on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hubert's exit after the third season was attributed to creative differences and conflicts with star Will Smith. Daphne Maxwell. Reed took over the role, and while the show continued to be successful, fans noticed the change in portrayal and the character's diminished role. The behind-the-scenes decision-making process can also be influenced by external factors, such as the actor's personal life. For instance, when Robert Downey Jr. was on Ally McBeal, his recurring legal issues led to his character being written out of the show. Despite his critically acclaimed performance, the risk associated with his personal challenges outweighed the benefits for the show's producers. In some cases, the departure of an actor can lead to creative renewal. Cheers saw the exit of Shelley Long, who played Diane Chambers at the end of the 5th season. The showrunners took this opportunity to introduce a new love interest for Ted Danson's character, Sam Malone, with Kirstie Alley's character, Rebecca Howe, bringing a fresh dynamic that contributed to the show's continued success. These behind-the-scenes stories highlight the delicate balance between the artistic and business aspects of television production. Actors may be replaced for a variety of reasons, but each change has a ripple effect on the show's future, the remaining cast, and the audience.